Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you listen to us from on the face of the earth. It is your girl, Oladolupo. Your one and only. Another one is a counterfeit. The one that they are not. Just wanted to put it out there. Hey. Hello, people. As we are in the Christmas season, we are in the COVID season. And see, this time that we are, these times that we are in, we are a very, 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 very critical season. I will tell people.
These are indeed trying times.
Very, very critical times. I think that
it's amazing how we keep doing the same thing and expecting
a different result. Yeah.
A lot of us have come to the point where we're carrying on as if we're Tefloning. Then nothing can touch us. But at the end of the day, you just find that you're not as immune to some of these things.
These things as you would expect.
Yeah.
As I was looking through this morning, which is something that we actually used to do it, like when the COVID numbers first got in, it was something that we used to do a lot. Like we actually sit down with COVID numbers, and then it was, you're like wondering that who's the first person to check COVID numbers, which we actually just stopped after a while. Yeah, people get tired of these things, and I find myself doing that lately again. And yesterday we reported about 1,300 cases.
Confirmed cases
of
across
COVID
Nigeria
in about in 24 hours. Last night, the numbers moved from 1,300, and it wasn't jumped though. It wasn't additional. It was fresh 2,123 new cases.
One of the reasons for that you can actually ascribe to this is the fact that you find that testing has increased again. Because at some point some states stopped testing completely.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons, but that's not the main reason.
That's not the main reason.
The main reason is that the new variant is spreading faster.
It's spreading like wildfire. As much as
variant,
a lot of
and people are still not bothered.
Reports are going on about how it's not as deadly as the Delta variant, but the reports still also confirm that they are more. What's the word now? It actually spreads faster. It's is faster transmitted around people, and it's very, very funny how we see, and nobody really just cares about.
And finally, I know you're still on something, but I just wanted to chip in. Finally, we have a variant that is just like your common cold.
Yeah, it's just so even makes it worse. It literally makes it worse to detect. And the funny thing is that I was talking to my mom this morning, and she's had cough and all that, and the only thing that she knows that is not COVID is that she has phlegm. But that, in fact, some people were telling her that she should go and get tested. And they're like, okay, at the moment, whether I have COVID or not, I'm isolating. By the time I get tested, yeah, it's not like they have a cure for me. I'm not sitting in the house anyway. So why not let me assume that I go have it and isolate myself anyway? Which it's actually one way to look at it. But that mentality can only work if you are actually going to isolate yourself away from it. Then it makes sense, yeah, because we know for a fact that a lot of people just carry on. Like even with
people still go out. They're still gonna hug people.
Because even with regular common
you're gonna
cold,
use the
with what we
ATM.
call flu on a normal day, yeah, on a normal day, you're actually supposed to isolate yourself,
Yeah,
which is something
don't
that
spread it.
we don't do on a regular.
In Nigeria, you call in sick and they're like, "What's wrong with you?" And you have cold. They're like,
My friend,
we have 1 hour to
and
get
you
to the
know
office.
and you know the bad part, it happens every single time. You're in an office that has people have cold. Give it 1 week to know how much those things spread. Every single person gets a cold.
And that's the issue. That's the way COVID also spreads.
That's the way it spreads. And it's sad because according to the numbers that came out in the last 24 hours, this is the highest that has ever been in past 11 months. We've not had these numbers in a long while. Lagos alone amounted for about, I think, 1,500 of those numbers.
And a lot of people are still going to travel.
We're
So,
still, and we're not
that
good.
means they're going
Like
to be,
the least that we can even
they're
do
going to be
for ourselves.
exporting and importing.
The least we can do
COVID.
for ourselves is at least wear a face mask in public. Other than you, other people infecting you, you don't know what you have, because when everybody is talking about symptoms and symptoms, we're still not thinking of the people that are actually asymptomatic that actually still transfer COVID.
Yeah.
Because there is the Omicron variant, there's the Delta variant, there's still the regular variants, that there's a large chunk of people that are asymptomatic. Remember that a while ago, WHO had come out to say that more than 40% of Lagosians are actually asymptomatic COVID carriers. That's another part we're not looking at.
Sometime this year, when I went to church, we had a virologist come around. The man was very vast, in the study of COVID-19 and the treatment of COVID-19. He talked about science showing that vitamin D is important in the survival, or in the boosting of your immunity when it comes to COVID-19. Vitamin D, for some of you, you can get it naturally. If you don't know, you can get it
It's
from the sun.
early morning sun.
The early morning sun.
Early morning sun.
So, my advice again is you can wake up in the morning and go for a walk. It actually does help, because we need to look for ways that are low-hanging fruits to handle these issues and to look for how we all can be safe, and continue to believe in a brighter future for each and every one of us, a better life that lies ahead of us. So that's one of the things I wanted to put out. Again, for all you big men who like to run away from the early morning sun, maybe this is a time to reconsider that stance, and step out, early in the morning, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour. Just go for a stroll. You don't have to do anything strenuous. Just try to get this in because it helps.
Okay, so talking about COVID, because this COVID thing is like all over the world, as we all know. Yesterday, we had talked about how the US had reported that about 73% of the new COVID cases they have now is the Omicron variant. Like, it's official. Japan had come out to say that there is now an official community spread of the Omicron variant and all that. But funny enough, the UK have now decided to shorten their COVID-19 isolation period to 7 days.
Yes, but we need to be specific. It is for people who have come in and who have tested negative twice, back to back, within the space of a short period, maybe 3 days or 2 days or what. It's for those kind of people. You get, because the truth is, if you can test negative twice, back to back, within a short period, then you definitely don't have it. But you can test negative the first time and actually have it. The test might not catch it the first time, but the second time it definitely will. There have been cases of people who have had only one test and they've walked in and, of course, eventually come back to get tested and they find that they're positive.
They're positive, yeah. So it's
So again, for those of you planning to travel to the UK, since the red flag has been changed to a white flag now, and there's no more.
Yeah, but
travel ban.
it's sad. It's sad because even with the Omicron variant, the UK has said that they've at least they're confirmed 14 deaths and about 129 people have been hospitalized.
Yes, this is something that we would like to re-emphasize, that there still is no known cure. Excuse me. There's no known cure, so the fact that people die, and again, vaccination is still at its early stages, but we urge you to still believe in that
Well,
science.
just at least get better. Talking about vaccination, yeah, Israel has now become the first country to approve a fourth COVID vaccine dose. Wait, I'm just trying to get a third one. People are already going on about how they're going to start giving people a fourth dose.
Yes, and just as if the Israelis are like ahead of everybody, it is not as if they are. The Minister of Health
They're
in
just
Germany,
proactive, man.
the Minister of Health in Germany has now come out to say it also, that a fourth
It's most
jab
likely
will be
was
required.
what would help people.
And this is where it starts from. So let's start thinking about that. And we still have people who have not even gotten
collected
the first one.
They collected the first one,
And
and
some of those brands, it's just a one jab. I think Johnson
Johnson & Johnson is one jab.
So
The
for
rest,
those kind
they're
of
actually
Johnson
all-
and Johnson, you might need a second jab. That's what it means. But for the rest that are two who are going for the third one, which
you're
is the
going to have
booster,
to take a third one.
you're probably going to be thinking of a fourth one in a few months' time.
Yes, and talking about vaccines, today it has been announced. It wasn't also just announced. It was there that about 1.6 million doses of COVID vaccines were destroyed in Abuja today.
And you start to wonder, you want people to come and get vaccinated. Why are you destroying vaccines?
Oh, they're expired. And I have a problem with there are two ways to this thing. First, a lot of people are not getting the vaccine. But I read a report, I can't remember, it was a particular doctor, that she was talking about how a lot of vaccines that are being donated to Nigeria and a lot of African countries, a lot of donated vaccines are vaccines that are almost about to expire.
Yeah. That came from an expert. We saw that video a couple of weeks ago.
Which, now you're looking at it, makes sense.
What she's talking about making sense is what the woman said, not the donation of.
Oh, not the donation.
nearly
If
expired
you're going to
vaccines.
do something, what is what doing at all is what doing well. Why donate stuff that you know is about to expire? It's probably not useful to you anymore. So at the end of the day, doesn't it now defeat the purpose of the donation
One of
if
the
it's not useful?
One of the mistakes that a lot of these countries that have access to the vaccines, because the manufacturers are based in their countries, they have stakes in those businesses. One of the biggest mistakes they're making, and they must see it from that attempt at a travel ban, is that the countries that you are preventing from getting it have people who will travel. Mm-hmm. In your countries, you have people who will travel.
Yeah.
They will.
So at the end of the
they
day,
will mingle. They will cuddle. They will meet in places.
yeah.
Even if, look, you can ban Nigeria from coming to your country now, or ban South Africa or Botswana or any African country, but you can't ban them from going to certain places where your own citizens will meet them
also
too.
be.
And if you think that they are all vectors, well, what do you think is going to happen? So one of the smartest things you can do is to also provide.
Make sure
the
everybody
vaccines.
has.
Now, there's no African country that is begging for a vaccine. They're begging to buy. They're begging for the right to manufacture, And I saw a tweet that's very profound. Now, everybody knows Volvo, the car making company, the car manufacturer. Mm-hmm. When they discovered a 3-step seatbelt system, they saw that it was too good to patent and keep
for themselves.
and they gave it out for free to the whole world. So the seatbelt system could have earned them some billions of dollars but they give that technology out to every car manufacturer.
And
They
that
made it
saved
free
lives.
to save lives. So, big pharma, I know we like to call them big pharma, all the top pharmaceutical companies. We're not even saying that you should give out your recipes or your
Just make it available
or
at the
your
point.
what's that thing that they use to manufacture their vaccines. But can people buy the license? Can they buy it so that they can reproduce these
Reproduce
things
it.
en masse, so that we can actually have herd, humility across the world?
Because it's one thing to have vaccines, which I think is what's happening in Nigeria now. As much as, yes, it's not everybody that we have vaccines for, but we have some number of vaccines that I think that might not be a bad idea. But
Talking about good ideas, okay, but say what you want to say.
we're at a point where there is vaccine, but some people don't even want it.
Talking about good ideas, borrowing from what you said. Today, at the Aleshin Lawyer Market in Ibadan,
Okay.
the governor of Oyo flagged off a mass vaccination campaign
Amen. I hope
inside
it
the
works.
market.
I hope it works.
Excuse me. Inside the market. Do you know?
I know those are the things that we need to.
Do you
get
know how long
to,
we've been advocating for
because
that?
those
right
are
here?
those are ways that we can get people to. Let's be honest with ourselves. People are not very keen on it. Sorry.
I'm gonna have to take a few seconds off.
Please go
Yeah.
ahead. People are not keen on it. We know that in Lagos, for example, they started the drive of going to mosques and churches. I know it's something that it's something that a large chunk of people actually go to. I've seen it for a fact that they actually in mosques and churches. Markets is also another huge place where people can actually get a number of people to get vaccinated. So yes, I think that it's amazing work. If every single state in the federation, if we look at those very, what's the word now, those high populated places like markets, like our churches, our mosques, a lot of recreation centers that we know that there's a lot of people there. Malls. Take for example the take like an Ikeja mall now. Ikeja City Mall is somewhere that people can go. Take for example, what's this place called? Computer Village. Computer Village might not be for people in Lagos. This is what these examples I'm saying for people in Lagos. Computer Village is not a bad idea where the state government can actually go to get people vaccinated, take the vaccines to people. We know how, take in case of polio, vaccines were actually given to people. Doors were being knocked from house to house, from churches to mosques to to schools. Everywhere there was people getting vaccinated, children getting vaccinated every single day. There was always a drive towards it, and I know that was what it was that template that the federal government had used for this particular vaccine method as well. I think that it is amazing. If we could actually keep it up, it would be very, very amazing. And I'm talking about COVID is still like very much on the front burner, and it's because it seems to be affecting everybody. Also moving off from the world stories on COVID, and let's move a bit on sports. With sports, is also ravaging a lot of, especially football right now. Before we get to football, for basketball in America, take for example the NBA commissioner. As much as COVID is something that a lot of people are talking about, and we know how much COVID numbers are actually rising in the US, they're still saying that there are no plans to pause the season due to COVID-19. We want to see how long that is going to go. A lot of people are also saying they're not going to pause it. The Premier League has also come up and said that they're not going to pause the festive season games because of COVID-19. But I also don't know how they're going to play because of the numbers that are coming out of for COVID for players. Take for example, there is about 8 players in Chelsea that have tested positive to COVID. I don't know how fair it is that 8 players of a team is not there and then you're still going to go ahead with it. Also, we know Tottenham, there's 7 players. I know 1 player is out for Ryan is out on injury, but there's 6 other players that are out for COVID. There's a lot other players from different clubs as well that have COVID here and there. Liverpool, Arsenal. There are a few players here and there that also have those. So I don't see how they're going to make this work. Take for example, yesterday we had reported that Wales had announced that from December 26th that all their games are not going to have spectators anymore, which I think that it is better. I think that's the first thing. I think that for things like games, like Premier League, like a league, for it to work, they probably might have to play a lot of these games in a bubble. But how is the bubble going to work if AFCON is supposed to start January 6th?
I just got you talk about AFCON now.
Yeah, I was talking about the implication of COVID on a lot of teams. We know a lot of teams in the Premier League have pockets of COVID patients, but it's worse with Tottenham and Chelsea. Chelsea is official now. They have 8 players down. Tottenham has 6. The 7th player has an injury. So let's be honest, how fair is it that 8 players of a team are down and you're still insisting that they're still going to have to play? We know that Tottenham had to forfeit a game with Rennes for that. They literally had to forfeit their...
No, they're going to fight that.
They had said that they were going to fight it, but as of today, that game is forfeited, and it cost them their qualification, just because of COVID, with no fault of theirs. That game was never ever played.
Yeah.
So is it a time that the managers of these leagues need to look inward? Is it actually worth it at the end of the day?
It's business. It's the business angle. They're supposed to strike a balance between humanity and business and humanity. But the thing about it is that I heard AFCON and my ears went bam, like, don't even go there, right? So someone made a point a few hours ago, because there are talks that AFCON should be postponed.
Yes, I think so too.
And I don't agree. One of the reasons why I don't agree is the Euros were played a few months ago at the peak of COVID. You get?
No, we didn't have Omicron variant then.
We had the Delta.
But we didn't have...
And it's deadlier. It was played, guess what?
But
Across 11 countries. 11 countries. As against AFCON that's going to be played in one country. It's going to be played in one country. Only in Cameroon. In 2 or 3 cities. Maximum 4. You get? So, I don't support that. If it's about COVID, they shouldn't have had those tournaments that they had. All the World Cup qualifiers.
So are we saying that it's a tit for tat thing now?
It's not a tit for tat thing. It is what is fair thing. You get? So I don't think that AFCON should be postponed. You get? Only if Cameroon feel that they do not have the facilities in place, then they can start talking about a postponement. Then, when it comes to the Premier League and not wanting to take a break or suspend games because of COVID, I think that's purely business based. I think whatever they've decided there is solely about their income and nothing else, not about the welfare of the players or anything. Again, we just found out that some of the players are not even double vaxxed.
Yeah, a lot of them are not.
And it doesn't make any sense, because one of the things that they should have enforced was the fact that if you're not double vaxxed, then you don't need to.
Then you're not playing.
You shouldn't be allowed to play. Yeah, and you see them, all the players have gone back to normal after the games. They're exchanging jerseys. They're backslapping and some things that were stopped last year.
Why are we back to it now?
We're back to it, and we're like, wait, who gave them the all clear? So I assume that it's like a bubble of sorts, meaning that every player is double vaxxed, all their backroom staff. Then we found out that it wasn't true.
It wasn't true.
You know, so kudos to Jurgen Klopp and the entire Liverpool management and players. They took this serious, and they are all double vaxxed. They're taking it very serious. While some clubs are allowing players that are not vaccinated to play or that only have one shot. You get that should not happen. That really shouldn't. There should be a standard, you know, because they all still want to keep playing. They all still want to. They want to continue earning their upkeep, and we get that. It's business. Even the fans want to watch football. I'm not going to lie. It gets boring without football at times, especially for people who like football a lot. But shouldn't you put safety measures in place? You know, so now that they're talking about the capacity being reduced, that's the number of fans who can see the games. I think that's a good step in the right direction.
I think they should even stop
but
it.
They might actually have to go into a situation that we had sometime this year. That's towards the end of the last season, when stadiums were empty. And the ambience was created on the speakers. Some of the stadium management printed images of people and put them on chairs, and just to create that ambience. We know it's not the same. We get it, right? But
we're talking about
tough times
safety
always
here.
call for
tough decisions
and everything. So it's not a bad idea if we think about safety, because guys, safety first. And if they're gonna create a bubble, which is not a bad idea, the NBA did it a couple of months ago. If they're gonna do that, that means players cannot travel. That means the backroom staff cannot travel.
Do you understand?
You know that everybody's just gonna be caught in that bubble
where the issue
all through the period where the tournament lasts. And you know that the league usually runs till like April, May.
It's a very dicey one, but we'll see how that works. And let's move a bit from sports and a very interesting story that I saw. I first saw it yesterday. Well, I'm not sure whether it's early this morning, about Megan Good, an American actress who officially has split. She actually announced that she split from her pastor husband after 9 years of marriage.
Yeah.
I won't say it comes as a shock, because these days, when it comes to divorce, I don't think it's a shock anymore. But you would think that she's a pastor's wife, that they're supposed to, get it. I've seen a lot of reactions. Somebody went on as to say somebody did not want children. You see, a lot of reactions have come up, and it is surprising. To be honest with you, my first reaction was, she never really looked like a pastor's wife. Like she was.
How does a pastor's
I don't
wife
know.
look?
It wasn't like. I don't know how to explain it, but it wasn't like she was. She perfectly fit into that first lady kind of life.
The pastor's wife.
She didn't look.
Image that you're talking about, is it a global standard? Like
no, it's not a global standard. I'm just saying, it's like there's a way first ladies tend to look that I'm not sure that.
Okay, I totally disagree with you. The thing about it is that at times we use our own.
Oh yes, I agree.
Culture,
that what I would not
our
even
own
like.
beliefs and all of that. You get, this is how a pastor's wife should be dressed. This is how a pastor's wife should be seen. Forgetting that